到哪里了？
Hi guys, English reading 100 days challenge. Today is day 61. Here we go.
读到这里了是不是？ So we continue from page 9. I have heard about this kind of misery. 读过了。Isolation.
Students at Stanford talk about Stanford Dog syndrome. Serene on the surface, paddling madly underneath. In a recent post titled "Meltdown" on an MIT student website, a sophomore confessed her feelings of shame and worthlessness, and of an overwhelming loneliness. The post went viral, eliciting recognition and gratitude from students at least a dozen other schools. Thank you for sharing, said one comment. We all feel this way more often than we would care to admit. Thank you for being brave enough to put this into words. Student at Pomona, which prides itself on being ranked the 4th happiest college in America, whatever that means, have told me of the burden that comes with the very self-image, as well as from the regimen of group activities with which the college seeks to reinforce it. The pressure that they feel to satisfy the happiness police by projecting an appearance of perfect well-being.
Isolated from their peers, these kids are also cut off from themselves. Isolated from their peers, these kids are also cut off from themselves. The Atlas hoop jumping, starting as far back as grade school, that got them into an elite college in the first place. The clubs, bands, projects, teams, APS, sets, evenings,
APs, SATs,
APs, SATs, evenings, weekends, summers, coaches, tutors, leadership, service left them no time and no tools to figure out what they want out of life or even out of college. Questions of purpose and passion were not on the syllables. Syllables 什么东西啊？ Questions of purpose.
Questions.
Questions. Weird. Questions of purpose and passion were not on the syllables. Once they have reached the shining destination toward which their entire childhood 到底咋读？
childhood
Once they've reached the shining destination toward which their entire childhood and adolescence 青春期吗 adolescence had been pointed. Once they are through the gates at or Dartmouth Amherst 达特茅斯学院 or Dartmouth many kids find out that they have no idea what they are there.
Why?
Have no idea why they are there or what they want to do next.
As Lara Galinsky, the author of Work on Purpose, expressed it to me, young people are not trained to pay attention to the things they feel connected to. You cannot say to a Yale, find your passion. A former student wrote me, most of us do not know how, and that is precisely how we arrived at Yale, by having a passion only for success. According to Harry R. Lewis, a former dean of Harvard College, too many students, perhaps after a year or two spent using college as a treadmill to nowhere, wake up in crisis, not knowing why they have worked so hard. One young woman at Cornell 干嘛？
你别晃，你一晃这个书就在震。
One young woman at Cornell summed up her life to me like this. I hate all my activities. I hate all my classes. I hated everything I did in high school. I expect to hate my job, and this is just how it's going to be for the rest of my life.
If adults are unaware of all this, that's partly because they are looking in the wrong direction. Getting A's no longer means that no matter what else is going on in their lives.
No longer means that everything is okay.
Sorry, 岔行了。Getting A's no longer means that everything's okay, assuming that it ever did. We have students who, no matter what else is going on in their lives, know how to get those grades. Rabbi Patricia Carlin Newman 叉
Rabbi Patricia Carlin Newman.
Carlin Newman. What's that? Stanford's University Champlain. Stanford's University Champlain has said, it's important for us to take away the blinders that keep us from seeing their distress. Seeing.
Mainly though, these kids are very good at hiding their problems from us. I was largely aware myself during my years at Yale of the depth of my students' unhappiness. Only now that I am no longer in a position of authority do some of them feel comfortable enough to open up. The student who told me that she had no friends until her senior years had seemed, if anything, unusually healthy. Funny, friendly, real, not obnoxiously competitive or on the make and a brilliant student to boot. Another kid, equally great, equally well adjusted for all that I could see, later confessed that she had been miserable in college, depressed or stressed out all the time. By the time they had finished high school, after years of learning how to please their teachers and coaches, not to mention schmoozing with their parents' friends, elite students have become accomplished adult wrangler, polite, pleasant, mild, and presentable, well-mannered, well-groomed, and well-spoken. Not to mention, often enough, well-medicated. They have fashioned that facade of happy, healthy, high. They have fashioned that facade of happy, healthy, high achievement.
It would be bad enough. It would be bad enough if all this misery were being inflicted for the sake of genuine learning. But that is quite the opposite of what the system now provides. Our most prestigious, our most, it would be bad enough if all this misery were being inflicted for the sake of genuine learning.
Genuine.
Genuine learning, but that is quite the opposite of what the system now provides. Our most prestigious colleges and universities love to congratulate themselves on the caliber of their incoming students. Their average SAT scores, the proportion that comes from the top 10% of their high school class, the narrowness of the admissions that lets them in, or the numbers U.S. News World report. All the numbers U.S. News and World Report has taught us to worship. And make no mistake, today's elite students are, in purely academic terms, phenomenally well prepared.
And that's it for today. See you next time.